about the designing of logos, business cards, but also your signatures, which are your personal logos. So even if you're not interested in logo branding, you get something else for yourself. So we're going to talk about that at the end. So Feng Shui consultant, but also my background is in art and design and branding, and that's how I got into this. So the first thing is, what is Feng Shui? This is kind of my quick take on Feng Shui. Feng Shui is a holistic, for most people, interior design. This interior, or exterior as well. And that's how I got into it. I was trained as an artist, and then I got into interior design and so on. But then I was also trained in design and in branding. And although good design is good Feng Shui, you can learn from good design in terms of how to do Feng Shui. You discover not only how to do it for other things, but also how both disciplines work together. For me, Feng Shui is a verb. It's not a noun, it's a verb. It's a process, it's not an event. You can't Feng Shui a place and it's done. Yeah, you can't do that. Also, Feng Shui is an art. Mainly it's an art. It's a bit of philosophy and a bit of science. There's a bit of science coming from environmental psychology. There's a scientific journal now for Feng Shui and so on. In a kind of nutshell, Feng Shui can be used for different things. So it's a design discipline, and I like this sort of image of octagonal crystal, because it's multifaceted. You can use it for different things. So I use obviously Feng Shui for designing homes, offices, but also designing perfume, designing cars, even designing music. So once you know the principles and they're universal, you can apply it in any industry. What it gives you energy. Obviously, the key concept is energy. Gives you direction and focus, but also gives you kind of optimism and faith and kind of drive to accomplish lots of things. And somebody said nice, Feng Shui is a physical affirmation. I like this definition of Feng Shui, because you have to do something physical in your life. What is a logo? It's a visual part, representation, symbol of the essence or spirit of the brand. And that's in a nutshell. Obviously, it's not the whole branding, it's just aspect of it. But a key principle in branding in any design is image, spirit precedes matter. Yeah? So it's not Walt Disney quote, but actually there's a funny story. When they opened Disney World, he wasn't there because he was dead. And somebody said, oh, we wish that Walt Disney could see all this. And they say, he saw it a long time ago before he manifested it. So he had amazing vision. He could see everything in detail in his mind before they actually construct the whole thing. So you can be overwhelmed, bombarded with logos, brands, and they want to sell us something, obviously. And you need to have different eyes to see what's going on and how they're trying to influence. And if you know that, that actually could be useful for you. But if not, then the whole concept, it kind of works against you. And once you see a logo, you can recognize it. It's very easy to recognize. But the function of branding is to build recall. So you can think about a brand and the logo comes to your mind. If that doesn't happen, the branding hasn't achieved its purpose. And also there's something called recognition bias, where basically once you see something again and again, you start to like it. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. You just kind of, you get used to it. So I wonder if you can spot something else in this landscape. You might have seen this picture. Yeah, exactly. If you haven't seen, there are lots of faces. The artist actually used 13 faces. Can you see? Can you spot? Can you recognize all the faces? They're all there. Your mind is processing the information. You can see all those faces, but you're not necessary. So, for example, this is another one face. Eye, nose, mouth. Can you see this face, everybody? Try not to see it now. You can't. Once you recognize something, you can't delete that. Yeah? And that's the power of images. So I'm going to give you new eyes to see all kinds of things, including your signature. But also you're going to learn about Feng Shui in a different way. So key principles, chi energy, in physics it's called charge. It's well defined now. Vibration, life force, yin and yang, obviously, 5 elements, energy flow, placement, composition, bagua, metaphoric representation, and I pick one model from environmental psychology, coupling preference model, where we talk about coherence, legibility, complexity, and mystery. But I like this quote because, ultimately, that's the first kind of principle, qi, energy. If you can recognize it, and everything has that. And obviously, there are different types of qi and different qualities. But once you start to see it in different ways, you can actually utilize it in your life or whatever you're doing. So the first thing is qi, energy. So any logo, any image will have some kind of energy. It doesn't have to be big and strong. It could be very subtle. Yeah? So Lego, and because it's been used all over the world for a long, long time, it's kind of acquired certain energy. There's lots of associations that go with Lego. Actually, it means play well in Danish. BP, they're moving into this direction. They want to be more ecological, sustainable. Ultimately, we want to use just the sun's energy because it's free. Yeah? So there's still people using oil and other things not so friendly to the planet. So that's why they redesigned it. So they had a different logo, but now they're moving into this direction. And it's a beautiful logo. It just represents what they're doing. The green colors symbolize ecology and so on. A subtle sort of logo. So this is the logo I've designed. I'll talk about different logos. Some of the logos I've designed, some of the logos have good feng shui, but feng shui wasn't involved in the process. It's just good design. So the lady, she's a yoga teacher, and she wants a logo for her yoga classes. And I asked her a very simple question: what's the key thing in yoga? And she said timelessness. Yeah? Yoga worked 100 years ago, and will work 100 years from now. It's timeless. So I created a name, timeless logo, and as you can see, a timeless infinity. And because three infinity sign overlapping. Now, at that time, she was focusing more on pregnant women, yoga for it, so you can see a bit pregnancy here. Yin and yang. So, what's easier to process for your brain, this symbol or those words? Obviously, the symbol gives you more information. You can't see the interaction of those elements in the name. So that's why the power of images. A lot of logos kind of have that yin and yang quality. So, HP, Hewlett Packard, you can see the connection, heaven connection, earth connection. Obviously, you can see that in the Bank of China. So that's the heaven, that's the earth, connected nicely. That's obviously a Chinese coin. Yeah? So that's working. Definitely, they use feng shui for that reason. But anything kind of where you've got a reverse colors or negative space, give you the kind of nice sense of yin and yang. We've got Coca-Cola. They haven't changed it for ages, and they're not going to, because it works. It's timeless. It's worth between $30 to $50 million. Just that. Not to mention the company. So a quick reminder, if you're new to 5 elements, we've got 5 elements. Water, the constructive cycle, water produces wood, wood helps with fire, fire kind of nourishes earth, earth nourishes metal, metal nourishes. So that's a nice supportive cycle, but also there's a controlling cycle. So fire controls metal, metal controls wood, and so on. So we've got 3 logos on the top, and basically they are communication companies, so they use the water element, because water is communication. So Skype and Twitter, blue color, obvious. But why orange? Use orange. It's nothing to do with water, because orange is earth. So what controls earth? Water, communication. They want to control communication, so they use a power feng shui control cycle to control that element, and it works. So both ways are good. You can use supportive cycle, or you can use controlling cycle if you know what you're doing. Can work against you. Yeah? So this is the old Adobe logo. As you can see, major problem, not very legible. If you didn't know it was Adobe, you couldn't read it. So obviously they drop it, and they created this nice logo. And obviously you got a lot of fire energy. You can see the triangles, obviously the color, and so on. And obviously that companies do with creativity, and they're expanding very well. They've dominated the world of photography, design, and so on. Google, obviously a lot of people use all the elements, all the colors. So Google, obviously the Olympic symbol, and even eBay. So you've got all those energies there. And the metal is the white color between the colors. So you've got that element as well. And it doesn't have to be in a kind of sequential way. where you've got blue, green, red, and so on. It can work in different ways. It actually works better from a design point of view. If you just have it in a sequence, it will be boring, and people will kind of figure out what's going on. Yeah? So they want to be kind of a bit mysterious and interesting to the eye as well. You're going to learn about Feng Shui and also your signature, so pay attention. Who is moodier, A or B? Moodier, kind of up and down? A. It's not rocket science. Who is more extroverted, A or B? B. Who likes to be in the middle of things, A or B? B. So far so good. That's Feng Shui. Who's feeling more aggressive, A or B? B. Who's feeling more depressed? A or B? Yeah, going down. And from graphology, we know that when people are depressed or old or suicidal, the signatures or writing goes down. That might explain this little picture that you know very well. Yeah? So you see, this is lower, this is higher. It kind of goes up. So it looks nice. And Howard showed one picture, it was the Chinese sign. It was that way as well, going up. But that's kind of human psychology. You notice that. And I really encourage you to study graphology. You can learn a lot about yourself. And in some countries, it's taken very seriously. In France, they'll analyze. If you're going for a high-powered job, you look at your signature, you look at your handwriting, and they'll see. They've done interesting, in one study, they had a group of people, and the graphologists designed their signature for that group of people. So they had to practice the new signatures for the next 2-3 weeks. 2 weeks into the program, people came to them and said, we need to stop this because your project makes us depressed. And some people were suicidal. They designed features from signatures of people who committed suicide. Yeah, and some of you already doing that. So I'll show you what those features are. Yeah? So the changing of the signature affected the brain, how they're processing information, how they were feeling. Yeah. Who's feeling more uptight and narrow-minded? A. Who holds back his feelings, A or B? A, because going back that way. In the West, the time flows this way, because that's how you write, and that's how we think as well. Who's feeling more economical, A or B? A. Who ventures out more, A or B? B. Who's feeling more organized, A or B? B. Who's writing about the future, similar, A or B? B. Again, so the placement of things on your mantelpiece, you can place certain things and they can affect your future or your past. Who's Japanese, A or B? Just checking. That you're paying attention. Who's communicating better, A or B? B. Much clearer you can read. Yeah. Who's feeling more active, A or B? A. It's more active, you can see the flow. This is kind of slow and kind of not that active. It's nice, but it's not as active as the other. Who's feeling defensive about and has something to hide? So you can see that hiding thing. People kind of do that. So. Who's more reliable and predictable at this time? A or B? Predictable?
B.
Why? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's much clearer. You can see where it's going. Yeah? Whereas this is kind of all over the place. And then there's capitalizing, slows you down, something right. Who's more dishonest about money, A or B? Yeah, you can see they're hiding something. That's very clear. Dollar sign. Which Mrs. Smith wants to divorce Mr. Smith? B. See crossing? Yeah. And that's what people who are depressed or suicidal do. They cross their signature. Never ever cross your signature. You wouldn't do that. Would you have mirror ties in your bedroom? No. Same idea. It's like crossing yourself. Jack works for both Mr. A and Mr. B. Based on the way each wrote the name Jack, who's more likely to give them a rise? A. Why A? Yeah, it's kind of more prominent. You can see that. Yeah? Which writer is a convicted? It's a true story. Which writer is a convicted killer? A or B? A. Yeah. So that's about. We'll come back to the signatures. I'll give you some examples, and you can look at your signatures here. So that's about the direction of the flow. So British Airways has this logo, and then they change it into the other logo. So it goes forward and kind of down and backward, yeah? Which is not a bad design, but they had, interesting, when they changed that logo, they had the biggest losses. They had the biggest strikes. All kinds of things went wrong when they changed the identity. So be careful when you're doing things drastic like that. Obviously, it costs a lot of money to rebrand the company. So this is a company I work, it's a radio station in Poland, and that's an old logo, that's a new logo. So as you can see, it's going backwards. So I'll just basically change it so it goes forwards and upwards. Yeah. That's one of the top brands in Poland. In FedEx, can you see an arrow in the FedEx logo? So here, can you see now? If you didn't see it now, you're not going to miss ever. Can you see something else? There's something else there going on. It's much trickier. Some people see, I don't know whether it was intentional. This was intentional. Can you see a spoon here?
Yeah.
There's a spoon. I don't know whether it's relevant. There is a spoon as well. Obviously, Adidas, they changed the logo. It kind of goes up and forwards. Originally, they're thinking that it's for sports people, so it's kind of part of the sports equipment. Again, it's nice forward, nice balance that way as well. So it's a good logo. Bagua, octagonal shape. Strangely enough, not a very popular shape for logos, but it's very powerful when people use it. So, you know, MG or Chase Bank or Society, we've got a sort of, and I like this logo because there's not much competition for this shape. I use this idea for some of my logos. But, it's a very powerful symbol. It's hollow. It's not Chinese. You can find it in any culture on this planet. So the next thing is metaphoric representations. So people will create a story, they create a metaphor to convey something, some values, service, etc. So zero, what those companies, all those 1, 2, 3, 4 companies have in common? There's a globe, yeah? World domination. It's very simple. Yeah, you can see the Xerox trying to dominate the world, Xbox trying to dominate the world, Firefox, it's a browser, and Wargaming company, they want to dominate as well. Yeah. So if you want that, if you're a global company, add some of that sort of imaging. So obviously people relate better to kind of to faces or human sort of figures. So at the moment, Android is much more popular than Apple as an operating system. Yeah. That's kind of dominated because the image is kind of more cute. You know, you kind of relate that more to an Apple. Yeah. This is the logo for London Symphony Orchestra. Can you see something here? Can you see the conductor? Now you see.
Yeah.
There is a conductor. Can you see the head? The conductor. Yeah. Beautiful. Boots. For a long time they had a tagline which kind of represented the shape that they chose. So what is this shape? A pill. Yeah. What else? Lozenge. Yeah. Looks like an egg as well. Yeah. A womb. Because the main value is curve. So when you have that sort of shapes, they represent kind of womb-like qualities, care. Obviously, they haven't changed for a long time because it works. Amazon, so you've got a smile, but also there's a connection between A and Z. They've got all kinds of product from A to Z. Very simple. McDonald's, I don't think they thought about this, but a lot of people see the first restaurant that you attended to as a baby. Fast food, this is breast. That's why kids love it. They recognize it, they're not stupid, you know, it's very clever. And in the Tour de France, are you seeing a cyclist? Yeah. So there's a head here, and there's 2 things, now you can see. So they're very nice things, and they're very subliminal, but work very well, because once you see it, you cannot stop seeing. And there's a little aha moment, and that's beautiful. That kind of engages you with the brand, and you remember them. Logos evolve, and this was the original logo for Apple. So obviously, that's Newton sitting underneath a tree, and the apple falls on his head. And the key thing for Apple is innovation, inventions. Yeah? So obviously it changed over the years, and that's the current one. I mentioned the BPP, so you can see, quite boring actually, yeah? Nothing, until they change it to this. Yeah? Mega change. So yeah, when you have a good logo like Coca-Cola, you don't have to change it, but a lot of companies trying to find the right thing. And it's okay to change, it's not a big deal, people still recognize it. This is the original idea for this logo. Very interesting model from environmental psychology. They cracked it. If you want to learn Feng Shui with 4 easy words, this is what you need to do. Your environment has to have certain coherence, makes sense. Has to be legible so you know what's what. Has to have enough complexity. Simplicity is nice, but also complexity is important, because at some point you get bored, basically. Yeah? If there's too much simplicity and enough not enough details, like look at this room. It's got some details, and it's beautiful. You feel your eyes can do something with that. If it's just plain, 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 you get bored at some point. Yeah? And then there's some mystery. Yeah, so it can engage you. Yeah? So the same applies to anything. You can use this model for anything, whether you're designing your office, or your home, or your bedroom, or your logo. Very useful model. I encourage you to read about it. They cracked it. This took them a long time to really simplify the whole thing, to capture everything that is important in any environment with 4 simple words. So at some point, obviously logos evolved, and originally had the name, then they dropped the name because it became more and more popular, people recognize it, and at some point, on the cover of your iPhone, you don't even have a logo. It's at the back, because people can recognize it. That's called the smashing your brand test. You can look at the Coca-Cola bottle without a logo, and you know it's a Coca-Cola bottle. That's the ultimate test. Obviously, only big brands, because they have a lot of resources, can achieve that, and a great reach. Most people can't get that, but you can do that with your signature. I'll give you some suggestions in a minute. So yeah, the same with Nike. Nike dropped their name, people still recognize, and Star Wars. By all means, I'm not endorsing any of those companies, because some of them are not really paying tax very well. So this is for example, yeah. Because they have good logos doesn't mean they're like good companies. So your signature, yes. So very simple. There are 3 levels. So the upper part of the letters, it's your mind, it's your spirit. The middle part is your emotional body. Look at your body. So this is your mind, this is your heart. And the rest is physical body, physical realm. So by analyzing your signature, you can tell what's happening. So people who have very small middle zone, maybe they're not interested in emotions. Yeah? Some people have very large middle zone. Some people have very small upper zone or lower zone. It depends what you want. So you can redesign it. Now you know how to do it. You can redesign it. It's not a big deal. Yeah? You can do it yourself. So a couple of things. So you already know, don't cross your signature. But also, the lower part is quite interesting. Those loops are called money bags in graphology. So you want more money? Start doing those loops. You'll see the difference. It worked for me, it worked for a lot of my clients. It's one change, they start to add more of this energy. It connects you more, you're more grounded, you start to collect things, yeah? Very simple. So a lot of different letters, you can make them up, but Y, P, S, F, G, J, Z, and B, you can do those loops, yeah? Yeah, but you can add things, yeah? So don't cross your signature, and write it a little slant. So you can add anything. People add little images, faces, whatever. It's just, obviously we're not using signatures a lot nowadays, so it's not a big deal. But it will take you about 21 days to get to the level where you feel comfortable writing that signature. And many women know when they change the name, the husband's name, how long it takes you to get used to that vibration. About 6 months. Yeah? So that changes you connecting to a different realm, to ancestors, to another family, and then you start to write the signature. It takes time. So I'll give you one more tip. When you're playing with your signature and practicing your signature, hold your pen ergonomically. So most people hold the pen like this between those 2 fingers. Yeah? That's not very ergonomic. That's the most ergonomic way. of holding a pen. And a lot of children hold it, and when you analyze old paintings, people have that. So, see, obviously it feels strange, yeah, but there's less tension. And Japanese actually done studies, so when you hold that pen like this, there's less tension. You feel nice after 21 days. Feng Shui for business cards. Pick a credit card size card. Do you know what's the size of the credit card? What is it? Golden mean. So in architecture, it's a very golden section, golden mean, golden proportions. It's a perfect proportion. So and that's why they pick that for making money. All credit cards making a lot of money. It's a nice container. So pick yours. And you don't have to round the corners. It's more expensive. Yeah? Use both sides. So obviously printing now is cheaper and cheaper. So you can add useful information. So this is my card. You can see I love Bagua. So at the back of the card, I just added the Bagua. And people keep that because they want that information. Not everybody remember. So very useful. Any other information that is useful. Yeah. Now. Obviously, you can pick landscape or portrait. So it depends, different energy. Landscape, you kind of want to open up and kind of maybe cover more territory. But if you're already established, maybe you go portrait. You know? So different kind of relation. Depends how much information you want to put. Both are useful, but for different things. You can add QR code. So then, you know, if you leave it on a board, or somebody, people can come with a mobile phone, take and all that information is in the font, so they don't have to type or anything. So it's a useful technique. Just to summarize, look at the energy of your logo or your signature, because that will give you a right vibration, longevity, vitality. Check the yin and yang, obviously for balance and coherence. 5 elements, very useful tool to kind of figure out what you want. Energy flow, make it positive, kind of upward, or with the right direction. Position your logo well, so you can position, so in this case, I positioned the logo in the well corner of my card. Yeah. Depends what you want. Metaphoric representation, try to include something symbolic so people can resonate that and kind of emotionally involve them. Learn about the Kaplan preference model. Good design is good feng shui. Start a good design. In normal sort of setting, when I design things, I have at least a criteria of 150 different things that I look at. You know, obviously, we didn't have time to look at most of them, but you know, good design. Lots of good books on good design. You study that; it will enhance your feng shui. It will enhance your understanding how feng shui works, and improve your signature. Add something positive to your signature. Thank you very much.